Rudy the Squirrel was lost. He had been playing chase with his brother and sisters. They were having so much fun. They scampered up and down the trees. They chased each other through the fallen leaves. Rudy, caught up in the excitement, didn't notice how far he had gone. Now he was alone. The trees looked unfamiliar. The shadows seemed darker. Rudy was scared. Rudy remembered his mother's warnings.
"Never go too far, little ones," she would say, her voice firm but kind. "The forest is full of dangers and the hawk is always watching."
He wished he had listened to her. He missed his cozy dray in the old oak tree. He missed his mother's warm hugs. Most of all, he wished he hadn't wandered so far. Rudy sat on a low branch, tears welling up in his eyes. The forest sounds, once so playful, now seemed scary. The rustling leaves sounded like whispers. The hooting of an owl sent shivers down his spine. He wanted to go home, but which way was it? He felt a sob rising in his chest. Just then he felt a gentle nudge on his leg. He looked down and saw a pair of kind eyes looking up at him.
"Hello, little one," a gruff voice said. It was an old hedgehog, his prickles bristling gently. "Why are you crying?"
Rudy, finding a little courage in the hedgehog's kind eyes, poured his heart out. He told him about the chase, his mother's warnings, and his fear. The hedgehog listened patiently, nodding his head in understanding.
"Don't worry, little Rudy," the hedgehog said when he was finished. "We'll find your way home."
Rudy felt a surge of hope. He wasn't alone. He had found a friend.
"But the forest is so big," Rudy said, his voice still shaky. "How will we ever find my tree?"
The hedgehog smiled, his eyes twinkling.
"We'll ask for help," he said. "There are many kind creatures in the forest. We just need to find the right one."
Rudy felt a little braver already. He hopped down from the branch and followed the hedgehog, his tiny heart filled with a glimmer of hope.
"I know just the one who can help," the hedgehog said, leading Rudy through a maze of ferns and fallen logs. The wise old owl. He has seen all corners of the forest and knows every tree and every path.
Rudy, energized by this new plan, scurried after the hedgehog, his fear starting to melt away. They reached the foot of a giant oak tree, its branches reaching towards the sky like long arms.
"This is where the wise owl lives," said the hedgehog, pointing to a hole high up in the trunk.
Rudy looked up, his eyes wide with awe. He had never been this close to the wise owl's home. Rudy and the hedgehog called up to the owl, their voices echoing through the silent forest. After a moment, the wise owl poked his head out of the hole. His eyes, bright and yellow, blinked slowly as he surveyed them.
"What brings you to my humble abode?" he hooted, his voice deep and resonant.
The hedgehog explained Rudy's predicament, describing the lost squirrel and his worried mother. The wise owl listened intently, occasionally bobbing his head in understanding. When the hedgehog was finished, the owl closed his eyes for a moment, as if deep in thought.
"I know of your mother," the owl finally hooted, his voice echoing through the forest. "She is a kind squirrel with a heart as big as the forest itself."
Rudy's heart swelled with pride. He knew his mother was special.
"But," the owl continued, "she lives many hills and valleys from here."
Rudy's heart sank. It was even farther than he thought. The wise owl, sensing Rudy's despair, added quickly.
"But do not worry, little one. I know just the creature who can guide you. The porcupine who lives near the Whispering Waterfall knows the forest paths like the back of his paw."
The owl hooted softly and looked down at Rudy with kind eyes.
"Be brave, little squirrel. Your journey home starts now."
Rudy, following the hedgehog, set off towards the Whispering Waterfall. Along the way, they met a family of field mice who offered them berries for their journey.
"Thank you so much for the berries. They look delicious."
They shared stories and laughter, and Rudy almost forgot his fear. He realized that even though he was lost, he was making new friends.
"These mice sure know how to make a journey pleasant, don't they, Rudy?"
The mice pointed them in the right direction, and Rudy and the hedgehog continued their journey. They crossed a babbling brook, hopped over mossy logs, and scurried under fallen branches. Rudy was tired, but he was determined to get home.
"I can do this. I have to get home."
As the sun began to set, painting the sky in hues of orange and purple, they finally reached the Whispering Waterfall. The sound of rushing water filled the air, and Rudy felt a sense of awe and wonder. He had never been this far into the forest before.
"Wow, it's beautiful."
And there, sitting on a rock near the cascading water, was a porcupine. His quills, sharp and long, glistened in the fading light. Rudy, remembering his mother's warnings about porcupines, approached cautiously. The hedgehog, sensing his fear, gave him a reassuring nudge.
"Don't worry, Rudy, he's friendly."
As Rudy and the hedgehog continued their journey, they finally heard a familiar voice calling out,
"Rudy, Rudy, where are you?"
Mom, I'm here! I'm here!
Rudy's heart leapt with joy as he saw his mother rushing towards him. Tears of relief filled her eyes as she embraced him tightly.
Oh, Rudy, I was so worried. Thank goodness you're safe.
I met so many friends who helped me find my way back. I missed you so much, Mom!
Rudy's mother smiled, grateful for the kind creatures who had helped her son on his journey home.
Let's get you home, my brave little squirrel.
Rudy and his mother made their way back to their cozy nest. As they walked, Rudy shared stories of his adventure.
And then we met a family of field mice who gave us berries. And we crossed a brook and saw the most beautiful waterfall.
It sounds like quite an adventure, Rudy. I'm so proud of you.
When they finally reached home, Rudy felt a warm sense of comfort and safety. He snuggled into his nest, feeling grateful for the journey and the friends he had made along the way.
I'm home. I'm finally home.
Yes, you are, Rudy. And we'll always be here together.
And so, Rudy learned that even when you feel lost, the kindness of others and the strength within can guide you back home. The end.